Is this the best option for Idaho to pay for private school tuition with public dollars? Some senators think so, which is why they sent Senator Dave Lent's bill through the committee to the entire chamber to discuss. Senate Bill 1025 will expand the state's Empowering Parents program, giving it an additional $50 million, some of which would be allowed for private school tuition. Yesterday, the bill got a hearing in the Senate Education Committee. More than 440 people signed up to testify. So many, the committee room and the room across the hall were filled with those waiting to give their 2 cents. Of course, not everyone got the chance to do so, but those that did, overwhelmingly, they were not in favor of this bill. But one of the 2 Democrats was the deciding vote, with Senator Carrie Semmelroth's yes sending it to the Senate floor by a 5-4 tally. Espen Shumpert has the story.
I believe this bill is unconstitutional. Having looked at Article 9, Section 5, where it says no appropriation of public funds should go to a religious entity.
Monday's Senate Education Committee meeting had lawmakers debating if taxpayer dollars should be used for private school tuition.
I have to come forward and say, when I compare to some of the other proposals I've heard, if we're going to be considering a proposal, I would much rather consider this piece than the others.
Senator Dave Lent's bill, which the committee closely voted 5-4 to send to the Senate floor, would allow for $30 million to special education in public schools and another $20 million to Idaho's Empowering Parents program, allowing grants from that program to be used on private school tuition.
It's intended to be more of a governance perspective, realizing that there's people on both sides of this issue.
Lent says this bill is a compromise to meet the people on both sides of school choice views in the middle.
It has become clear in this last year with what's happening with the Trump administration, their direction, and also our current governor and his direction. If we're going down that road, then let's see if we can write some legislation that keeps it within the bounds.
He says it's either be part of the game or on the bench.
There's the do nothing and completely resist and say we're not going to go down the road at all. There's the option that we are going to go down the road and favor less and less accountability. And I know other bills that are in circulation now range from no accountability to just some light touch of accountability to the third version, which is in the middle, which is what we tried to do.
Hundreds of people asked to testify in Monday's committee hearing. Cassie Horner, a public school teacher in the Boise School District, was one of 16 who were chosen.
I do think it's important that parents get to pick where they go, but I think that tax dollars are more important to be spending the public education, going to public education, because that's what needs to be funded. And it's already underfunded. It's already struggling.
Lent believes his bill addresses accountability with requirements that will be asked of private schools.
They would have to have background checks of the people who work there. They would have to do some kind of standardized testing. They would have to be associated with some sort of accreditation.
But the bill also scales down reporting requirements for public schools to just federal requirements, like financial reports and compliance examinations.
If we're really going to change public education and help it be successful, in the future, we have to make some difficult changes with the way we currently do business.
That is a concern to Horner.
My concern is the students. So when we're not funding those students and we are not reporting on the students, then we're going to start seeing our education numbers in our nation drop even further than what they are.
Lent's bill will get more discussion when it does hit the Senate floor. Now, I asked him if he felt confident that it would make it through the Senate. He said not necessarily. With a bill like this, with heavy views on both sides. Brian, we know Wendy Horman's school
tax
choice
credit bill, yeah.
Correct, in the form of tax credit. That's getting its hearing tomorrow, so we'll be able to kind of compare what lawmakers are thinking on both of these bills.
Okay, I misspoke. Now, quickly walk me through this Empowering Parents program. It's not getting an additional $50 million.
Correct.
That $20 million, want to push it up to $50 million? Is that what it is?
So they currently operate with a $30 million budget right now.
Okay.
They're going to proposed legislation would give them an extra $20 million to get them up to that $50 million.
Okay, so that 5-4 vote in committee, though, shows you how tight this
very narrow
this decision making is. And as he mentioned, those people who really want less and less accountability, they may vote this one down as well. So we'll see. All right.
Yep.
Still a couple more out there. Thank you very much, Aspen.